Hello and welcome to the Stitching Owl's very first Flossmas. I, of course, am talking about cross stitch on December 1st, 2024. I have two Advent stitches to share with you today and two other starts. So let's begin with the Nordic holiday countdown. Now, the pattern for this Advent calendar is by Jacob of Modern Folk Embroidery, who loves to work with Caroline at Evertote and Carrie of Roxy Floss Co. to create a wonderful 25 days of stitching for people across the world. Now, you can see Nordic, we've got our actual reindeer. Nobody has a red nose. And so this is our actual opening pamphlet. And I'm not going to show you the back, but I promise you that he's given us a little extra of a Christmas ornament that I want to stitch. Now let's see. Now here is day one. And we are invited to join the holiday countdown and enjoy the ride this year. And of course, the artwork is definitely showing us taking a sleigh ride. Now, I am happy to say that this is the first time that I have signed up for the Evertote Advent box, and was delightfully surprised by how many things are in the day one package. So we have, of course, a needle minder, and I'm sure in some way we will see those motifs come up. Very nice of Caroline to think about giving us some John James needles. We are always happy to have more needles. We have a 2024 wooden ornament, and I'm noticing the Nordic style is quite similar but not exact. So are they just the style, or are they predicting something to come? And in this first envelope, we have a beautiful red floss from Roxy Floss Co. called Suitable, and they have included one of these, they're flexible rings so that we can add each day of floss to the ring to gather it up to 25 for Christmas Day. So I thought that that was extremely generous. Now, of course, we really needed some fabric, and they have included Glacier, and I have chosen a 20 count Ada. Now, when they send us this piece of material, they send us a healthy amount, and indeed, I'm going to have extra to play with when this is done. Now, day one, Jacob was very kind to us. We used our beautiful Suitable red, and this is the amount that we have. Now, kindly at the bottom of our day one chart, he gently reminds us that each of these are not identical spacings. It was nice for that little reminder right off the bat so we didn't have a misstep and need to frog on the very first day. So this is just the beginning, day one, and I'm very pleased, and Glacier seems to be the perfect name for this steely blue color of cloth. Now, the second Advent that I am taking part in is called Advent Calendar Banner. by the Tiny Modernist, and this is the front page for it. Now, you can see that the numbers for our Advent calendar don't just go chronologically. We do have 1, 2, and then she goes down the center. Very kind to actually give us that guidepost. And then we jump around a bit. I'm going to have to be careful when I try to find number 11, because I'll have to count carefully from there. And I will say that all of the lovely counting pins that people have given me at the retreats, Jacobpalooza and Stitch North, are coming in handy already. So there was a specially dyed cloth for this project, and I'm just going to say that this particular pattern was an exclusive for Stitch It Central here in London, Ontario. It was something that Maria worked with Cheryl, Tiny Modernist, to create for us. Now, day 1, this is what we've got. So I think we all can guess what's going to go over here. And when we look at that first chart, we see that day 2 is the other part of this top banner. So that is going to be fun to finish that off. Now, I am doing these in the DMC numbers. Cheryl has provided us with other options. There are specialty flosses as well as DMC. So in here, this guy, this one is an 18 count. I played around with it in the corner. I don't know if you can see up there. I was testing, that's my needle. You can barely see that I was testing out, do I want to do 1 or 2 strands? And in this case, I have opted for 2. So those are my 2 advents for day 1. But what else was I going to start today? Well, I'm going to put up the mock-up of the PDF. This is also a Modern Folk Embroidery Jacob pattern, one of his smaller Yuletide samplers. And indeed, I decided that I wanted to try out the 22 count Ada that my friend Deborah from Barry had sent me. And when I was debating, like, this is monochromatic. I mean, Jacob says if you want to do it in more colors, feel free. But I decided I wanted to do it monochromatic, and because Deb's favorite variegated floss is a 115 DMC, that is what I'm stitching this with. Now on 22 count, I'm going to be using 1 strand only, and here I've got my start. As always, Jacob's patterns go into Pattern Keeper perfectly, so I know that this is 204 stitches. I know it looks small, and indeed, this on 22 count will be quite tiny, so I will have lots of opportunity to do other patterns with this. So again, thank you, Deborah. And the other start that I am doing with Laura, Stitching by the Shore, and Amy of Renewing Stitches, is The Spirit of Christmas by Textilly. Now, Textilly Crafts is an awesome floss tube that I hope you will visit. And of course, you can go to Etsy to download this marvelous pattern. Now, on this, I think you know what I'm going to be doing. We see 3 ornaments hanging from the sky, and indeed, I am going to be doing my stitching separately instead of one big piece. And I think I'm going to actually do 4 ornaments. certainly 1, 2, 3, but then I'm going to collect some of these other beautiful motifs that have been created and create a fourth ornament of the same size, approximately. So with this one, I am, for the piece ornament, I'm using Ribbon Red, which is a Colorworks color, and I'm using an opalescent, oh, it sort of shimmers, 32 count Lugana hand dyed by Rulanda. Now you will notice, so I've got this top part of the piece bauble going well, and the word is actually going in Diamante metallic. I know that that's not the favorite thread of some people, but I find the effect to be quite wonderful, and I'm looking forward to stitching each of the words in the metallic. In this special season, I would like to share things that I'm thankful for, and today I would like to be thankful for all the doctors and nurses that take care of patients in hospitals. As you know, this is personal to my journey, but I also listened to a floss tube recently. Lee of Sticks, Strings, and Other Things has had a recent diagnosis and is awaiting the date for help to get rid of some cancer. So I'm inviting you to be thankful for the doctors and nurses that take care of everybody, and pray that those that will be helping Lee will do their very best and that we will have her for decades to come. Now, in my tradition, I end my videos with the playing of the piano, and today is no different. Today, what you're going to hear is a couple of Advent carols spun together. Now, for those of you who are musical, you might find it a little bit tricky to figure out the time signature I'm playing in. The early Advent carols were created before we always had a sense of time signature. So sometimes they weave in and out of something expected to unexpected. So we hear here of the Father's love begotten, and O come, Emmanuel. And this is arranged by Linda McKechnie. Thank you so much for joining me today. I look forward to seeing you for day 2 in my Flossmas video series. Bye for now.